Today I want to talk about Orwell in comics. Why is Orwell still so popular? What is 1984 about? And how does that story come across when turned into graphics? "1984 is a dystopian novel about a totalitarian dictatorship. And in this dictatorship, Big Brother rules the country. And he rules the country via the media. Via the media, he tells the people that they have never been more wealthy, while in reality, they live on rations. He tells them that everybody loves Big Brother, even though most people fear him. And he tells them that the war is almost over, even though it has been going on for decades. The regime's main enemy is the truth. And that's why its sole power is based on manipulating or denying the truth. All former records, newspapers or programs that show that Big Brother is actually lying are destroyed or falsified. The regime is even working on a new language, newspeak, that should make it impossible for people to think oppositional thoughts. And newspeak leads to fascinating claims such as freedom is slavery. Although this book was written in 1948, it has remained ever popular because it was seen as a warning. If we don't look out, Big Brother may come alive. And in a time of Brexit and Twitter politics, many people have turned back to Orwell to try and understand the present. 1984 has often been seen as a condemnation of revolutionary politics. Revolution always leads to totalitarianism, and therefore it is better to leave things as they are. But that was not Orwell's point. In reality, Orwell was a democratic socialist. He even went to Spain in the 1930s to fight and support a democratic government against a fascist general. The point that Orwell was trying to make was that revolution itself wasn't bad, but that its degeneration into Stalinist terror was. And this book is above all aimed against Stalinism. But it's not just the politics of 1984 that makes this book so powerful. This is not a book of slogans, but a book of real characters with real fears and desires. And Orwell has taken a lot of time and space to also describe the look, touch and feel of that world. What Orwell is actually doing is writing a social realist novel in a time when most Western authors are turning away from that style and moving towards more modern and more abstract ways of storytelling. What is so interesting is that social realism in this time was actually embraced by Stalinism. So what Orwell does is he takes social realism, a Stalinist art form, takes it to himself and then turns it against Stalinism. And that is what makes this book so powerful. Orwell's style has massively influenced the imagery around 1984. So when the book was turned into a film in 1956 and again in 1984, both these films employed a very realistic style. In a similar way, in 2021, when the copyrights expired on Orwell's work, no less than 5 graphic novels of 1984 were made, almost all of them drawn in a very realistic way. 2 graphic novels stand out, and I will discuss them here. The first is done by Fido Nesti, a comic book maker from Brazil. He stays closest to Orwell's original, and he does so through a realist style and a rather traditional page layout. He visualizes a world as Orwell described it, in the way that houses and streets look, in the way that offices and canteens are cramped, in the way that people are dressed, the way that technology works. Nesti truly visualizes a 1940s image of the future. One of the effects of this style is that Nesti comes to emphasize something that is often rather overlooked, namely the poverty and overall shabbiness of the regime of Big Brother. At the same time, Nesti uses realism with a twist. For an example, there is always room for a bit of cartooniness in the way that characters are visualized, and every now and then the more traditional page layouts are let go for more expressionist and more telling imagery. Nesti thus stays very close to Orwell, but does so with a twist. The artist who is probably most free in his rendition of 1984 is Xavier Coste. He uses large panels, unorthodox page layouts and a strategic use of a limited number of colors to truly bring about a stunning piece of work. And what is so interesting is that this different way of working also leads to a visualization of a different type of regime. Both works are drawn in different styles. And while Nesti focuses more on poverty and repression, Coste focuses more on surveillance. These differences are not absolute, but they are related to the different styles in which the books were drawn. Each time that you withdraw money from a bank machine, you get your picture taken. And each time that you travel with a bus, you are filmed. And it was said that Trump, during his 4 years of presidency, made 30,000 false or misleading claims. Big Brother may indeed be coming back alive. And if that is the case, the only upside of that may be that people start reading Orwell again. Orwell, however, would have said that our task is not to read books, but to inform ourselves and to defend democracy. If you want to know more about Orwell and his work, you can read this excellent graphic biography by Kristin and Vergier. Thank you for watching this episode of Classics into Graphics. If you like this episode, click subscribe and ring the bell, and I'll see you next time.